So, welcome to the first episode. I want to just say that I don't want to ruin this or stain this by promoting and doing marketing things. So, I hope that this project will be interesting to you, no matter who you are, and that you would choose to follow it. But one thing that I will do is invite you to participate. At any moment, please, at any moment when you feel like anything I say is relevant to you, send me a message, send me an email, anything. Just write a comment, because this is what this is for me. It's some opportunity to create connections and to deepen understanding. And my vision, my perspective is one very limited perspective. And I know that even if experiences sometimes seem exactly the same, there are nuances. And in those nuances, there's understanding. And there's one thing I say, the most expensive thing a person can buy is understanding. I don't think that, even when we say I understand, is one thing I really try to never say is I understand, because I know that I don't understand. Whatever that person's talking about specifically through their eyes, I do not understand it. I may have some idea of what ballpark, what they're going through, but I don't understand it. But I think it is possible to get closer and closer to that. And that's what the mission is. Now, this whole project for me is an attempt to bring my project, my book, to the world, because I was not lucky enough to be able to publish it through an agent. I've reached out to a lot of agents, and I didn't have any luck. And so I'm going to try to do it myself. And so I will go through the book and read a lot of it, probably most of it. There's a chance I might read all of it. But mostly I want to talk about the experiences that led me to write this book, to think that it's necessary to write this book. Everything. I mean, I've now been an immigrant in 3 different countries. I immigrated illegally to the US when I was 10 years old. My parents took me. We did the whole thing. We crossed the border with my mom and my 2 brothers, my grandpa and my uncle. And that was a crazy experience. It was 12 years. I think almost 2 years of those 12 years I was not undocumented. I was a DACA recipient, Dream Act. For those that are not familiar, this was a Obama era piece of legislation that allowed children who were brought into the country illegally to then obtain a work permit. I won't say legal status because it was so fragile. But yeah, you could work for 2 years at a time and then renew it. And if you were a good person in the eyes of the federal government, then you could pay again and get another 2 years. Then after the US, I went to Spain, and that was also tough in its own way, even though out of the 3 experiences that I've now had, including my current experience, which is Germany, Spain was the lightest. But because it was mixed with this thing of leaving the US, leaving my family behind with the idea of maybe never seeing them again. In the case of my brother, this was the case. He passed away before I could see him again. And that was, I think, the hardest part. And there are so many parts of what illegal immigration or legal migration, how some things are the same, how some things are very specific to one or the other, and everything in between, and how the same experience might be lived completely differently by 2 individuals based on, well, just what their vision of the world is. There is so much to be unpacked, and this is what I'm looking to do, which I want to be humble, and I want to know my limits, and I know that this project is very limited, but with some help from you, hopefully we can turn this into a sort of a beautiful unraveling of what this means to so many people. I have conversations all the time. I have conversations with people who are bigoted, with people that are intolerant, with people that are a little bit ignorant, with people that are sad, with people that are frustrated, with people that are angry, with people that just are desperate. And just there's such a spectrum in this world of immigration, whether it be looked at from the outside or whether it be lived in. Mostly I'm doing this for the children. I always think about the little boy that I used to be, and how much I suffered, and how much that suffering still is so crippling to me in this moment right now, when I'm now considering how I'm going to protect my child, who just by process of genetics is a brown child, in a country where the power is held by white people. So I'm hoping to use this project to help me process this. And I am now a almost 32-year-old man. I can say that I am against illegal immigration because I see the suffering that it creates, not because of economic reasons or because I feel like poor white people are going to be replaced, but because it's so tough. And look, even though there are plenty of allies and there are plenty of reasons why a person may choose or be forced to go to a country that is not their own in a way that is not, legal, it just doesn't seem worth it. I think I'd rather die in a country where at least I feel like I have a right to be in than have to stand there and feel like people have a right to make me feel like I don't have a right to be there. And that's the thing. I know for some people, the suffering that they're escaping, or the danger that they're escaping, or the promise of some sort of bright capitalistic mostly future is outweighs that, and so it makes sense for them, or they're able to shut off completely the other thing. But from my very limited perspective, I don't believe that it's ever worth it. And that's the reason I've now talked my mother into moving back to Mexico. My parents have been living illegally in the US. My father for more than 20 years, and my mother for 20 years. And it's just, I think, why are they going through all this? Why go through all of this? I mean, of course, at the time, there were plenty of reasons, and I will get into that at some point. But now I think, look, we now have perspective. We now are able to realize this is not worth it. I am now in a situation where, because I happen to fall in love with what I would like to consider the right person, I am in a country that I'd rather not be in. I'd rather not be in. And I am constantly reminded of the reasons why I don't want to be here. The people remind you all the time that this is not your place, and that you are acting like the type of person that you should not be here. Anyway, for me, it's not really worth it. I ramble a lot. I will try to finish one thought. Not that long ago, I went to pick up my partner's son, I consider my own, from school, and he told me that one of his classmates, a little girl, she was afraid of me. And I laughed. You always got to keep things light with kids. And I said, why do you think she's scared of me? And he said, I don't know, maybe because your skin is of a different color. And some part of me, I gotta be honest, some part of me was hoping that he would be able to see that, but also understanding that that's the type of thing that you learn to never expect people to be able to see. Because you get so used to people dismissing your reality that you just stop expecting people to see it. It's so often that I find myself sharing a part of my experience and just even sometimes just hinting that this might be racism, not saying it directly. And people will get uncomfortable, white people, because they haven't experienced this, which I totally understand. And this is something we will get into. And it makes them uncomfortable, and they might subconsciously, this might consciously, but probably most times subconsciously, will reject the idea and try to just move past it as fast as possible. But children can see things, and they have not these filters and these, problematic things in their heads that tell them about the socially awkward things that you should and should not talk about. And so he was able to say, I think she finds you strange because you're brown. And I was like, yes, he can see it. He can see this thing. He knows about it. And of course I'm not worried about him because he's a white boy and he's beautiful. And there are two things in this life, being an attractive individual has been just scientifically proven to be beneficial in life, in society. And to be white in a country where the white people hold the power, it's just you're set, buddy. But he's able to see it. I'm not worried about him being able to see it because he's fine. But I'm happy that he's able to see it, because then maybe he can understand why I'm nervous sometimes. Maybe he can understand why I got so nervous when the doctor didn't want to speak English to me. When we left the doctor's office, he asked me, why didn't you want to speak English to you? I said, bless his heart. I told him people are strange sometimes. Anyway, this will be an experience. Hopefully you can come along and participate, please. And if you want to have a conversation, if there's something that you say, look, I think you're doing it wrong. Let's talk, and let's do it right. Send me a message, send me an email, write a comment, and let's get in touch. We can do a conversation, or you can take over the whole project if you want. Anyway, take care.